Bitcoin, a 21st century currency renaissance? Fasten your seatbelts as the legendary Tim Draper addresses the looming financial revolution in a televised message to Bitcoin believers. Tim Draper, Draper University.
Hi, Malta. Oh, we love you, Malta. I'm Tim Draper. I'm from Draper Associates. I'm a venture capitalist and a big Bitcoin enthusiast. And I think that we've got the tiger by the tail, and Malta has figured it out. I'll start by talking a little bit about that. Anyway, thank you, Malta and the Malta AIBC program. I'm so sorry I'm not there. You have an absolutely gorgeous country, and I'm sorry I'm not with you today. Well, so Malta's figured this out. Ever since Bitcoin, we have a decentralized thinking world. And the way I describe that is we've got a decentralized currency. We've got a currency that travels around the world. If you were a refugee from Sudan and you came from a wealthy family, you would then go over to Greece and you'd start with nothing. But if you had Bitcoin and you were in Sudan, you would go over to Greece and you'd pull down your Bitcoin and you could start your life again. And that's one example of so many others that make all of our worlds better because of Bitcoin. The other is Bitcoin is going to make for a real tumultuous time. We are going to see a tremor in the world. And that is that if you start thinking of the world as decentralized, you suddenly stop thinking of nationalism or patriotism or tribalism. You're not thinking of this is my little land here. You're thinking about, hey, I live on this globe with a decentralized world. And that decentralized world is much more effective and works much better if those borders are completely open. And so we're seeing the slow, gradual dissolution of the borders around the world. And that scares a lot of people and a lot of governments. And some governments, and so governments sort of have a choice. They can either say, I like it the way it is, I don't want anything to change, leave me alone, let me be a tribe. Or a government says, if we do this, our country will be one of the most advanced and wealthiest countries in the next 40 years because the world's going to change and we can be a part of that new world. Well, you saw what happened. China said Bitcoin is illegal, and so all the entrepreneurs from China were saying, how do we get out of here? China said we're going to keep all the money in renminbi. All the people in China were saying, how do we get money out of this country and into dollars or crypto? The other thing that happened was Japan responded and said, Bitcoin's a national currency, and here's how you do an ICO, and we're open for business. So if Japan is completely open for business, then the Chinese entrepreneur have a place to go. I think Japan was very clever there, and they were very smart in deciding to make Bitcoin one of their national currencies. And now I've been to Japan recently, and you see, jewelry, and there's the price in yen, and there's the price in Bitcoin. And you see, cat for sale, price in yen, price in Bitcoin. So Japan has really opened up. And the other thing that's happened, and you were all too well aware of this, is that Binance was a Chinese corporation. And Binance said, when China said, what you're doing is illegal, Binance said, oh my gosh, I've built a $10 billion business here. And you are telling me that what I've been doing all this time is now suddenly illegal. I have to do something. And so what they did was they moved to Singapore. And then Singapore was accepting for a while, and then they got a little heavy-handed. And then they went to Malta, to you. And your country took them in and recognized that a $10 billion business is incredibly valuable to a small country, and you accepted them. And Binance, of course, has been an outstanding success, and they've done extraordinary things. And I'm very thrilled that they are now a Maltese company. Well, so I've kind of hit the big point here, and that is that the world is decentralizing. But what I haven't hit are all the little entrepreneurial opportunities that I'm seeing out there. Bitcoin and all the technologies that came off of Bitcoin, the blockchain, smart contracts, Lightning Network, Open Node, all of these interesting technologies are changing the nature of all finance and all commerce and pretty much all the way we do business, all banking. And I'll give you an example of how that might work. Well, let's say I'm a venture capitalist and I raise money in Bitcoin, and then I deploy it in Bitcoin into 20 different companies. And then those 20 companies then pay their employees and their suppliers in Bitcoin. Well, what I've just done is, since the blockchain is this perfect ledger, what I've done is created a whole platform that doesn't need any accounting. And so an accountant can add value in other ways. And the other part is with a smart contract that I might have with my investors and my entrepreneurs might have with me. The smart contract can determine the flow of all funds through all the waterfalls, and that can make it so that I don't need a lawyer either, and so the lawyers can add value in new ways, and that gets me to sort of artificial intelligence. My son Adam said AI is going to take all our jobs. So now think about what you're doing now and think about what artificial intelligence is going to do to change your job, and then start to abstract and start thinking, hey, what could happen in the future? How might this all work? And I think that's going to sort of change your way and your thinking about how the world's going to work. Anyway, we're going to have, I can imagine venture capital being all Bitcoin and all AI, and some amazing things could be happening there. Think about that with your own job. And as an entrepreneur, this is the best opportunity in the history of the world. We're seeing this will be the biggest wave, the biggest transformation that the world has ever had. Whenever you have a big tremor, big earthquake, you get a tidal wave. We are having the big earthquake. The earth is changing because we've got Bitcoin and we got a decentralized world, and people are going to have to react to it. And those of you who are afraid are going to be crushed by the wave. And those of you who are excited are going to ride that wave and have the ride of your life. So have a great conference. I'm sorry I'm not there in Malta. I hope to make it to the next one. You guys are great. Go Bitcoin, go crypto, go decentralized, open, frictionless, and global.
How can we reconcile